Hey everyone, have you ever been hurt by someone, like really hurt, and you just didn't know what to do? Well, today we're diving into this incredible story from the Bible all about a guy named Joseph. And his story, it teaches us something so powerful: how to forgive. I mean, really think about it. If someone you love, like a friend or even your own brother or sister, did something that really, really hurt your feelings, what would you do? Would your first thought be, I'm gonna get them back? Or would you try to find it in your heart to forgive them? That's a huge choice, right? And it's the exact one that Joseph had to face. So our story today comes from way back in the book of Genesis. And it kicks off with Joseph face to face with his brothers. And let me tell you, they were terrified of him. Okay, so here's a little backstory for you. Years and years ago, Joseph's own brothers did something just awful. They actually sold him into slavery. Can you even imagine? But now, fast forward a bunch of years, and guess what? Joseph is this super powerful ruler in Egypt. And his brothers? They're the ones who desperately need his help. I mean, you can just feel how scared they must have been, right? Standing right in front of him. Yeah, they were probably replaying that terrible day over and over in their heads. They knew what they did was so wrong, and they were pretty much convinced that Joseph was going to want revenge. I mean, wouldn't you think so? They were just waiting for the punishment to come down. But Joseph did something that completely caught them off guard, something nobody saw coming. He made a choice that had zero to do with getting even and everything to do with true strength and love. So instead of getting payback, Joseph chose love. Can you picture it? He looks at his brothers who are just trembling with fear, and instead of yelling at them, he pulls them into a hug, and he tells them, "Don't be afraid. I forgive you." Just, wow. How incredible is that? He could have been so angry, but he chose kindness. So what does that word forgive really mean anyway? Well, it's a really brave choice. It's when you decide to let go of all that anger and hurt you've been carrying around and choose to show love instead. It's kind of like you've been carrying this big, heavy rock, and you finally just, let it go. And all of a sudden, you feel so much lighter. Now, you're probably thinking, how on earth did Joseph do that? How do you forgive something that huge? Well, here's the secret. It all came down to his trust in God. Joseph truly believed that even when awful things happened, God was still in control and that God had a bigger, better plan for him. And, this trust wasn't just some vague feeling he had. It was focused on a very specific, very special promise from God. A promise about a place his family would one day get to call home. You see, way, way before Joseph was even born, God had made this big promise, first to his great-grandpa Abraham, then to his grandpa Isaac, and then to his own dad Jacob. God promised them this special home for their whole family, and it was called the Promised Land. It was basically a symbol of God's love and the amazing future he had in store for all of them. And Joseph believed in this promise with his whole heart. So much so that right before he died, he made his family swear to do something really important for him. He said, "Look, when God finally brings you back to that promised land, I need you to carry my bones with you." He wanted to be a part of that promise coming true even after he was gone. Just think about that for a second. Joseph had it all in Egypt, right? He had power, money, a loving family. But deep down, he knew that wasn't his real home. His heart was set on the future that God had promised. It just goes to show you, he believed completely that God always, always keeps his promises. Okay, so what can we learn from this incredible story? What are the big takeaways for us today from Joseph's life? Let's break it down. Well, first off, Joseph's life shows us to choose love over anger, every time. Second, we learn to be brave enough to forgive people, even when it feels impossible. Third, we're reminded to trust that God has a good plan for us, especially when things get tough. And finally, to always, always hold on to the hope that God's promises give us. And you know what? We can be like Joseph, right here, right now, in our own lives. When a friend says something that hurts our feelings, we have that same choice. We can choose to forgive and make things right. And when we're feeling worried or sad about something, we can trust God by just talking to him about it. Like you talk to your best friend. Because he's always listening, and he always, always cares. So, I want to leave you with this one last thought. The next time somebody hurts you, try to remember Joseph's story. Remember that you have a choice. Are you going to choose revenge and just let that anger build up inside? Or are you going to choose to forgive, to love, and to be a blessing to someone else? It's a really powerful choice. And as Joseph's story shows us, it's a choice that can truly change everything.